what I hear you saying is therapy didn't cure the situation. Therapy helped you learn how to acknowledge, accept
and address.
And address. And that's a really important idea, because I think, like, I can recall when I went to do some serious therapy, and I remember my mindset was, I went with my husband. We had this, we were having an issue we needed to work through. And I remember thinking, I'm going to tell a therapist what happens and then how I react. And the therapist is going to say, yes, she's right. This is, she's completely reasonable in her reaction. And I was shocked when the therapist said, yes, it is reasonable that you react this way, but the problem is it's affecting your relationship. And that was a whole new concept to me, that the therapy wasn't to fix the problem. The therapy was to show me how to think differently.
Yeah.
That I could do something to accept my situation and work through it differently. That's a very different thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's what therapy does, right? It teaches you those strategies that you can apply in other areas as well. So I think learning that is not for that particular situation, and it can be applied to so many different areas of life.
So do you think that might have contributed to why you didn't think you needed therapy? Because what's the therapy going to do? The therapy can't bring my babies back.
That's what I thought therapy was about. That therapy was like, maybe I was thinking it like physical health, like therapy is not like I pop in a Tylenol and it'll cure my fever. So am I going to just pop in some tablet that is going to bring in my babies? That is not what therapy is going to do. So I just didn't believe in therapy at all. Like, it's not going to work, because I had no idea why even people went for therapy. And there was just, again, so much stigma around it. I still get rolling eyes at times when I talk about it openly. And
right.
Over time, I don't care, but I get a lot of support from many people as well when I talk and so normally about it. They're like, oh, even I take therapy, but I have not mentioned it to anyone. So they're still hiding out there.
Right. There's nothing shameful about it. Yeah,
exactly.
Because
I go there to normalize it. Normalize the conversation like we do with physical health.
Well, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. Finish. Well, I got excited about this thought that came to my head, and then I interrupted you. I'm so sorry, but I'll finish it since we have a pause. So what ended up happening for me is the therapist recognized, she actually recommended that I go to trauma therapy, specifically to therapy for trauma, which I had not recognized. Some early childhood experiences were creating a narrative inside of me and causing me to see things in a way that was not helping my current relationships. So doing this kind of deep dive into with the therapist was incredibly helpful for me. And the ironic thing is, years later, when my husband passed away, that trauma therapy absolutely came as a lifeline to how I was able to grieve the most devastating loss that I'd ever experienced. So I thought that was interesting, because I think I was able to grieve better than if I had not had that therapy before.
No, absolutely. I mean, I have an example to share too. Like, I took therapy in 2022. In 2023, my husband was hospitalized with a serious infection, which was really life-threatening. And for me, since I already had a therapist, my therapist immediately switched years, and she said, you need to start taking therapy for this. And she guided me through. And I remember the sound of an ambulance froze me because I was taken in an ambulance. My husband was put in an ambulance and taken to a hospital almost an hour away from where we were. So, I mean, you hear ambulances everywhere just for a few seconds, right? But being inside of the ambulance for 1 hour straight, and all you hear inside, because I was not allowed to sit in the back with him, I was sitting with the driver. All I could hear inside the ambulance was the siren and some beeps of, beep, beep, beep. So I didn't know what was happening in the back. Were they doing a CPR on him? Whether he had stopped breathing? So all those bad thoughts were coming to my mind. And fortunately, he recovered in a couple of months. But I suffered from PTSD. And the sound of an ambulance anywhere. I remember being on the biggest highway, one of the biggest highway, at least in the DC area, 495. I was driving and an ambulance passed by and I froze on the highway. And I was like, I need to do something. And then because you mentioned, right, it helps when you're already taken therapy. So I went back to my therapist. I said, I don't want to be like this. So for me, it was immediate realization. So I took the 3 A's immediately, like I need help and let's do. So I did the EMDR therapy, which was a quite interesting one. Eye movement desensitization retraction therapy. At first, I thought it was more about hypnosis because they were hypnotizing me. But in that one moment that the therapist would ask me such grilling questions, and then she'd give me a minute to think about it, and then I would spill out. And the responses that I spilled out were like everything what I was storing inside. So that was really helpful. But then within a few sessions, I got a handle, and it kind of cured me. I did not all the freezing on the road with the sound of an ambulance calmed down. And I think that the therapy for my twins and my babies helped me, address it sooner than I would have waited for, I'm strong, with that tags. I would have waited forever. And then when it would have converted into something I couldn't handle is where I would have addressed it.
Yes.
So it does help in other situations where you're able to just identify, I need help and let me take the help. And we started working on the new issue. And I still continue to work with my therapist. There are so many different areas that I've realized I could use help. So there's always something.
Right. Well, and that's a powerful example. I'm really glad you shared that because that could have catastrophic consequences if you stop in traffic. I've been on that road. It's crazy. What if somebody had hit you from behind, right?
I was alone in that car, and that's where I realized that I could have died on that spot because I just froze. I mean, my car was running because I was at a speed of 65, 70, but at the same time, if I would have stopped accelerating, my car would have stopped at some point.
Yep.
And I immediately said, no, after going back home, I'm going to start my sessions or do something about it. I'm not going to. So I think that firmness was because of the therapy that I was already taking.
Right. Well, and sometimes people think that if you start therapy, you're going to be in therapy for years and years and years, and that it does, and it doesn't get better, and all you do is talk to somebody about the same thing over and over again. But that's not actually the case, because what I'm hearing from you is you had this totally recognizable stress response to the ambulance, right, to the sound, and being able to go address it. Then you're not having the same reaction every time you go through traffic now.
Yeah,
that's progress.